ఓం శ్రీ గురుభ్యో నమః. అందరికీ నమస్కారం. See, there was a neurosurgeon by name Dr. Eben Alexander in USA. He was a very successful neurosurgeon. So he used to hear a number of stories or the experiences of his patients. Those patients used to share with him the experiences of astral travel and all that. So, as a doctor, he described them as fantasies, and those experiences which his patients have undergone or in some kind of stressful conditions, they're all fantasies. That's what he felt it. He also said, but those experiences are real for the patients who have undergone those experiences, and because they are not factual, I mean, those experiences being very subjective, they cannot be termed as objective experiences to inquire into the factual thing or not. I mean, he cannot verify. There is no scope to verify it, whether it is a fact or otherwise. So he left them at that stage without any kind of a belief. Now, a strange thing happened in his life. He suffered a neurological crisis, and with that incident, he has to radically change his viewpoint about those experiences narrated by the patients. So his brain was affected with a lethal infection, and because of that, the neocortex activity, the part of the brain which controls the thought and emotion, that neocortex activity, that part of the brain controls the thought and emotion, and it involves the functions of that activity involves sensory perception, motor control of muscles, reasoning, language. So these functions have got affected because that part of the brain is infected with that kind of bacteria, which is very dangerous. So his whole uh, I mean, he has become unconscious, and in fact, he went into coma for 7 days because all those vital functions have dropped, and he lost the memory of the factual information because the damage to that part of the brain results in symmetric dementia, which is the loss of memory of factual information. So he was in that state for 7 days, and after 7 days, it is a medical miracle. He recovered. He regained his consciousness. In that state of that unconsciousness, it is reported by him that he traveled beyond this world. That means he took an astral travel and he met an angelic being, and that being made him to experience the deepest realms of supernatural. So he recovered after 7 days, and because of the loss of memory, he forgot who he was, where he was, and what happened to him. So because of that, this thing, that damage to the brain, his whole memory, which is supposed to be in the structure of the brain, has been eroded. So there is no no hope of recovery of his memory, which has been lost. So, but slowly he is able to recover his memory and his history of who he was and what he was, etc., piece by piece, over a period of time. But the point here is, when he lost the memory, because the part of the brain which has got all this information has been eroded. So that part has been damaged and the memory has been lost. So, but they found a regeneration of one part in the brain. Probably they thought because of that he has recovered his memory and all that. But the doctors are not convinced, and finally they concluded that he could recover his past because of one thing, that is, his memory was not there in the brain, certainly because of the damage that has happened, but the memory or whatever his past has been downloaded by the receptors in the brain, like programs are received by the radios. So that has been downloaded. It is not there in the brain, but the memory has been downloaded. So that's what has happened in his case. Now, let us focus on this from a spiritual point of view. There was one master by name Sri Yukteswar Giri Maharaj in Puri, Sri Rampur and all that. So his beloved disciple Paramahamsa Yogananda has narrated one experience which he had while he was with his master in his ashram on one occasion. So, Paramahamsa Yogananda used to live in nearby Calcutta, and he used to visit his master very often whenever he gets opportunity and all that. So, on one occasion, he had visited his master one day, and during that visit, he brought 6 cauliflowers, a vegetable, because that vegetable is very dear to Swami, his master. So he brought 6 flowers, cauliflowers, and he has put them under the bed in his room of the ashram. So next day morning, he went for a walk with the master on the seashore. And while he was walking, the master inquired his disciple, "Have you properly closed the door of the ashram or not?" He said, the disciple said, "I have closed the door perfectly." But the master said, "No, you have not closed it inadvertently. But anyhow, I try to take this opportunity to fulfill the desire of a man who was coming on that way." So he told the disciple, "Let us go stand nearby the ashram and see what happens." So a man was walking before the ashram, on the road before the ashram, and suddenly he peeped into the ashram, and as the door is open, he went inside straight to the room of the disciple, took two flowers, cauliflowers, and then returned. There was some valuable articles belonging to disciple were there, like gold ring, all that, cash and all that. But he didn't touch any of those things. He took only the two flowers from underneath the bed and left. So the disciple later asked the master how it had happened, how that was possible for him, for the man who was walking on the street, to find that vegetable which is there inside the ashram under the bed. How he could know that? And how he could touch only those flowers, leaving apart the valuables? Please explain. Then the master said, see, you brought 6 flowers. So, but while coming, you have forgotten to close the door of your room as well as the main door of the ashram. So, this man who was walking that way, I noticed that he very much likes these flowers. I know his hidden desire, and I want to satiate his desire, fulfill his desire by advising him to pick 2 flowers. So, the brain has got some receptors. So, like radio, so whatever the suggestion I have sent to pick up 2 flowers, he could catch that and acted accordingly. These things of telepathy or something like that, you will be able to understand well when the science discovers these things in the years ahead. So now the point I want to make is, whatever the thoughts which we feel we are noticing or observing or receiving, they are all from ether. They are all coming from the emptiness of the space. And whatever the thought we get, number of thoughts are coming. There is a scientific study about how many number of thoughts are coming per day and all that. So that apart, leaving that apart, what I want to share is the thought which comes, and if we receive it, is it ours? Whatever it is, whether positive or negative, whatever thought it comes, and whatever thought it waves in the mind, does it really belong to human being? So we are all under the control, and we are only puppets in the hands of the divine and nature, because we are only permitted to receive to the extent he releases according to his plan of divinity. So, this is the state of the human being. When we experience this, when we notice this, we are only, as I already said, a kind of mechanical beings in the hands of that omnipresent God. So, whatever action we do, or whatever we think, and everything belongs to Him, and it is a part of the cosmic drama. And whatever the role we are assigned, and we will be enlightened to the extent He allows only. So, thank God, and